Hello everyone, this is Monstertaming coming at you with another Kindred Fates newsletter. So we had the one from April 19th, 2024. So, for the progress, first time the system got a shiny new update. The bar drains and refills smoothly. It has new support for fatigued state. When you run all the way out of stamina, this makes you a little bit slower and unable to use any actions that would consume stamina, like jumping or dodging. The fatigued state ends when your stamina bar is completely refilled. As a result, you have to be much more thoughtful about how often you choose to dodge or sprint. Okay. So, stamina bar is up here in the top left corner. Or no, stamina bars are here. The top left corner is the XP. So we watched this a couple times, probably. First off, I don't recognize that icon, but we're looking at stamina bar right now. So you can see the stamina turns red when you've exhausted everything. So yeah, I think that is fair to say a pretty good idea. We can play initial balance pass on red letter mode, which has been a source of many improvements made this sprint. While there's still plenty left to do, it's already really fun to play after just a few adjustments. Added nearly a dozen new combat AIs for different NPCs. These are mostly new strategies for specific use cases, such as Kadoki that focuses on putting you to sleep before firing one large attack, or improvements to NPC target selection from last time we complete. We recognize our behavior logic. NPCs are now more reactive to player movement. In general, they're at least 10 to 15% more efficient. We've also created initial versions of a few new human NPCs for the beta and added them to their respective locations. Okay, once again, we hear talk of humans in the beta. I mean, I don't have the best memory in the world, but as far as I can tell, I don't remember them ever saying that we're gonna have like summoners or anything like that for the beta before, but not like in an official blatantly, yes, here it is, this is happening. But we keep hearing mention of NPCs, and they blatantly said human NPCs for the beta. And I'm not sure if they mean added in their respective locations, as in they added the ones they worked on from the beta to the world, or if the beta is going to have a small world space in it. I don't think it's going to have a small world space in it, because I don't think they would just kind of like hint to that in the newsletters, since that's so requested. I'm sure if they were going to do that, they would say it blatantly, but it is a little bit interesting to see what human NPCs are going to be like in the beta. There could be, my guess is that maybe you go to the training ground and there's some people standing around that make you tutorials or something like that. So lock on is once again in our sights. We made on a host of improvements to this feature since last time it was implemented. Combat feels so much smoother as a result, especially when playing with a controller. While locked onto a target, the target will stay in the center of the player's view, similar to other games. When using ranged attacks while locked on, the player can also aim to lead the target and count for the attack time, attack's travel time. There are definitely still situations where it's best to keep your camera unlocked, like when fighting larger groups of enemies or using more advanced combat techniques. That said, so far lock-on is proving to be a huge quality of life feature for both melee and range play styles without providing an advantage to one over the other. Made improvements on how spawn and lob attacks are aimed. The aiming reticle now tracks the player's aim while a character is starting their attack animation. Previously, the reticle would stop moving when the character started the ability animation and would only resume moving again after the ability is fired. This made aiming these abilities feel sticky, especially on abilities that have multiple charges per cooldown. Aiming these abilities feel buttery smooth now. Fire and release setting is not able by default when playing with controllers and be toggled off in the settings. Found this configuration feels more natural on controllers. With all of these improvements, playing on controllers I can feel even better than mouse and keyboard. That's a bold statement right there. The human character's 180 turn animation was happening too often while running around normally, so we restricted the parameters to when the character is sprinting, it makes a full 180 turn. We also made improvements to the feel of the human's movement when the animation is used correctly. Now it feels more like they're sliding with momentum as they turn. We finalized for now or a seamless transition framework for multiplayer. This means that in the full game you can be playing in the single player game, then decide you want to join a friend for some multiplayer fun without having to exit the game or quit to the main menu. You can begin connecting to their world without leaving your own. When you do connect, things from your world will fade out and be replaced by things from your friend's world. You'll bring all your items, kinfolk, and even spawn in the same place in your friend's world for co-op. We spent a lot of time reworking the 1v or 1v1 match framework to make it more reliable and capable of running a seamless way. Keep in mind, the full game, you won't be stuck on the main menu during matchmaking. We want you to be able to queue for a match while you continue to play single player, and then resume to single player activities afterwards seamlessly. Ooh, that's very nice. Especially if there's like a time where it's slow and not really peak hours or something. And especially if you have a ranking system where you get higher ranks, and basically every game are notorious for having a long queue time. So I mean, I should just run around and do stuff in single player while you wait on a queue. We added more gray box versions of our previous set pieces that will be featured in the beta, both large and small. Sorry about that. Alright, so we added more gray box versions of set pieces that will be featured in the beta, both large and small. We will have the placement and spacing between these set pieces in a fairly good spot now. We'll be shifting our focus to the actual geometry of the set pieces next. It'll be a lot easier than trying to keep track of exactly which characters you defeated, looking up what EV values they give, and then raging every time you find yourself in a combat encounter. Once you use your carefully connected stat spread, how about giving you a set number of points when you level up and just letting you put it wherever you want? Yes, please. All of this. Kinfolk now gain unassigned points upon leveling up. These points that can be added to any kinfolk stats. You know, kind of like an RPG, a small notification appears next to a kinfolk on Team UI page when they have points that can be assigned. This way you'll assign them at your leisure. Holy crap. Okay, I just wanted to say this right here. I cannot express it enough. I have been an EV hater from day one. You know, it's like the meme that if EVs only have one hater, it's me. Basically, like the fan thing, but the hater. I'm the hater instead of the fan. And I have been screaming my heart out, saying how bad of an idea EVs are. Never liked them in any game they've ever been implemented in. I think they are archaic, and that people often just put them in just because that's what Pokemon does. So they're like, well, you know, trying to follow the most successful series, which, you know, don't get me wrong, makes sense to try to learn from the most successful series, but the only way the entire genre can move forward is we stop just taking things just because they worked for one series, and instead look at how we can make things better. A Coromon did this really well as well. Monster Sanctuary to an extent, and also a different system, the Coromon, but also did pretty well. Uh, an Ode Heart, and now Kindred Fates. I am very happy to see that as a whole, it seems that we are moving away from EVs and we're moving towards more of like the traditional RPG style of stat distribution, which I think works way, way better, both for PvE and PvP. Since still, I think PvP you shouldn't have to level up creatures in PvE to battle with them in PvP, but that's an entirely different topic. I think I've already made a video on that, but probably like a year or two ago now if I did, so I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, the short of it is I think it's a really dumb idea to make you play PvE to be allowed to play PvP. It's just, it doesn't really make sense. Um, but anyways, I'm not going to go on a rant about that. Still, I really like everything in this newsletter. This newsletter is probably one of my favorite newsletters I've seen so far. From all the changes are just literally 10 out of 10. And I mean, the stamina system just from this looks like it needs a little bit of tweaking, but I'm not going to comment on something that's work in progress that we haven't even played with yet. I'm not going to do that again. Uh, but I'm looking forward to it all. And until next time, this has been Monstertaming with Bisloba signing off. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye. God bless. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.